I invite you to pray in your tradition as I pray in mine. Good and gracious God, we pause in the busyness of today and gather to acknowledge and celebrate the accomplishments of this group of women and men. You can see the smiles and feel the joy and taste the excitement of what lies before this group of officers. Thank you for the call placed upon the hearts of these airmen and guardians to serve the greatest air and space forces in the world, and for their response to that call. Thank you for putting people in our lives along our paths that mold us, encourage us, and push us to be the best that we can be. Thank you for those whose names were written on an ottoman and their influence upon these officers. Thanks for their families and friends, for we know that they would not be here without their support and that of many others. The journey of preparation continues for many of our officers today, so I ask that you bless their continued studies. Grant them wisdom, determination, and endurance to finish strong. Bless those who leave here today headed for their next duty station. Grant them traveling mercies. Make the way be clear for them so that they may serve to their max potential. I ask for blessings upon the OTS instructors and staff as they've poured into these trainees. Refill and replenish them so that they may continue to pour into our future officers for classes to come. For all present today and those serving far from home, I ask that you bless them, watch over them, guide and protect them. In your most holy name, I pray these things. Amen.
Give it up for Lieutenant Berkey. And Chaplain Kleinschmidt as well. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Please be seated. Good morning. I'm Captain Shortell, the self-proclaimed ceremonial voice of Officer Training School, and also your narrator for today's ceremony. On behalf of the Commandant Officer Training School, Colonel Keolani Bailey, we welcome you to the completion ceremony honoring Officer Training School Commissioner Officer Orientation Class 2303. Please give a round of applause for the officers who have completed this rigorous course and received their completion certificates. At this time, I would like to introduce the members of the official party. Our distinguished guest for today's ceremony, Colonel Crystal Henderson. The Commandant Officer Training School, Colonel Keolani Bailey. The Senior Enlisted Leader, Officer Training School, Chief Master Sergeant Everton Hickson. The Commander, 217th Training Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Michael Lloyd, and the Senior Enlisted Leader, 217th Training Squadron, Technical Sergeant Denise Tammy. Also, I'd like to welcome the following distinguished guests. The Command Chief, G&M Home Center for Officer Accessions and Citizen Development, Chief Master Sergeant Jennifer McKean. The Commander, 24th Training Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Jason Edwards. We'd also like to extend a warm welcome to all other commanders, chiefs, senior leaders, airmen guardians, as well as family and friends who have joined us on this special occasion. Officer Training School is a challenging total force officer development program that builds warrior-minded leaders of character committed to our oath, values, and creed. In today's Department of the Air Force, airmen and guardians may be called upon to accomplish difficult missions in austere environments. Our officers are not only expected to be morally and physically courageous, but also expected to develop resilience and a hardiness of spirit as they serve and lead airmen and guardians in accomplishing their missions in volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous environments. To ensure our officers can meet these high demands, Officer Training School challenges trainees with a rigorous and demanding training schedule, which includes warrior challenges, team-building obstacle courses, academics, drill and ceremony, leadership evaluations, which include developmental positions at flight, squadron levels, and much more. The citizens of our country can be extremely proud of these men and women who have answered their nation's call to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest speaker for today's ceremony is Colonel Crystal Henderson. She's the Air Force Surgeon General Chair to the Air University and International Security Studies Instructor at the Air War College. We are so proud to have her with us today. Please join me in welcoming Colonel Henderson. Ma'am, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. I didn't know it was my turn. I thought somebody else was going to speak before me. My bad. So, Colonel Bailey, Chief McKean, Chief Hickson, Lieutenant Colonel Edwards, Lieutenant Colonel Lloyd, I want to thank you all for giving me this opportunity, this gracious opportunity to speak in front of this class, in front of these phenomenal men and women of the Commissioned Officer Orientation Class 2303. Give yourselves a round of applause. It is a definite honor to be able to take part in such an important time in your careers. So, 22 years ago, I was sitting in a ceremony similar to this one at the completion of my commissioned officer's training. And at that time, probably like many of you, I really had no idea what I was getting myself into and what was getting ready to happen, and what life was getting ready to be. I only had 6 weeks of military experience, barely knew how to put on my uniform, much less who I salute and who salutes me. So I commend each and every one of you after a couple of weeks knowing what that feeling is like and what you're getting ready to do, whether you're going to your first duty station or going back to medical school. Been there, done that. And so, I want to salute you all for taking the oath, taking the chance, and putting yourself out there and getting ready for the next step. All that I knew at that time was that I was embarking upon something new, something unfamiliar, yet it was exciting. I didn't know it then, but my life was truly about to take a turn for the absolute best. So we all joined for different reasons, whether it's patriotism, family, tradition, education, travel, a sense of a higher calling, wanting to be part of something bigger than yourself, stability, security, financial, or if you're like me, to pay for daycare. So over the years, I've come to understand that why we join is much, much different than why we stay. As you begin your journey, there will be days of great rewards, but also days of great challenges. And it's during those times of great challenges that you will learn to lean and depend upon your true wingman. It is also during those times that you will learn your own strength and understand what it takes and means to be a wingman and mentor to someone else. The day that you come to understand that you work for your people and not the other way around, that is the day that you will truly understand and become a servant leader, one who puts the well-being, growth, development, and empowerment of his or her people as a priority. That should be a goal for each and every one of you, to become that servant leader. Having numerous opportunities to be an integral part in the growth and development of so many Big A airmen, whether it be active duty, Guard, Reserve, civilian, and even your contractors enlisted, that has been some of the greatest moments of joy that I've experienced throughout my career. Because let me tell you, there's nothing like, you're having a day, you're going through it, and all of a sudden you get a random email, a text message, or a phone call from a previous staff member to either ask for advice, to share some good news, or just to say hi. It causes such a warm feeling, and knowing that at some point in time, you've done something right and had a positive impact on someone's life. In the big scheme of things, that's what it's all about, and that's what makes it all worth it. I've been blessed with great assignments, surrounded by great people, at some great and not so great locations, while being a part of some great missions. I'm not saying that every assignment is going to be perfect. Absolutely not, because people are people, and the military is a microcosm of society. So there are people of good character in the military, but there are also those of not so good character in the military. The blessing for me has been a keen sense of discernment which has helped me to steer towards those of good character and away from those without. It's those people of good character and intent with whom you need to surround yourself. Find yourself a good mentor, particularly a good senior enlisted mentor who can help lead and guide you as you get to your first duty stations, because they've seen it, they've done some of it, and they know how to help you get to where you need to be from a standards and excellence standpoint. And it's the people that make or break your assignment. So please, please, please make a concerted effort to be that person of good character and intent for others around you. You will receive it back tenfold, and that's what makes even the most undesirable location one that will be the most fulfilling. As you embark upon your journey as a military officer, you will have 3 goals that you should always hold near and dear to your heart: excelling in your technical profession, executing the mission, and taking care of the people for whom you have been charged to care. From this day forward, it's no longer just about you. It's about the people and the mission. Trust and believe me when I say that if you take care of your people, they will take care of you, because believe me, if you don't take care of your people, oh, they're gonna take care of you. So there's an old saying of happy wife, happy life. In our world, I'm a firm believer in happy staff, happy patient, parishioner, customer, whoever you're serving. If you keep that thought in mind, you can't go wrong. I challenge each and every one of you to be an enthusiastic leader, an intrusive leader, and an engaged leader. But you can't be an intrusive leader unless you're engaged. And that means knowing your people, getting involved, talking to people, walking around, getting out from your desk, behind your desk, meeting and greeting, even if that's not your thing, even if you're a bit of an introvert, forcing yourself out of your comfort zone so you can learn the people that you're working with and working for, so that in times of need, they won't hesitate to come to you and look to you for guidance and support. So always lead from the front, lead by example. And as the saying goes, never ask anyone to do anything that you're not willing to do yourself. If your people see that you are all in and you own the processes and the problems, they will trust you and willingly follow you. Understand your mission set boundaries while empowering your staff to do the jobs they have been trained to do without your constant interference or micromanagement. Delegate, but never abdicate your responsibilities. Trust but verify. Trust but verify. One more time. Trust but verify. Treat all people, all with dignity and respect, and above all else, have fun with it. This is your career for many of us. Some you'll do your initial time and you'll get out. Some you'll do a couple of assignments and get out, but some you'll make it a career. Regardless of what you do, have fun with it. Know what you're doing, support your staff, empower them, but give them the psychological safety in what they're doing. Give them the space that they need, and again, enjoy it. Have fun with it, because it's going to be your life. As you leave from here and go on to your first duty station as an officer, know that you are now part of a family of airmen who strive every day to embody our core values of integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all that we do. By taking the oath and completing this course, each one of you has already proven that you are more than worthy of living up to these values. Never stray from them, and you can rest assured that your time in the Air Force will forever be fulfilling and rewarding. So, good luck, and we're all counting on you. Thank you.
If that wasn't a perfect message for today, I don't know what is. Ma'am, thank you very much for being here and providing those words to all of our graduates today. At this time, I would like to introduce three very special members of Commissioning Officer Orientation, Class 2303. These members have volunteered to share their why, the reason they choose to serve, and the reason they will lead, always with honor. We'll start from the Warthog Squadron, Second Lieutenant Howard Tufel.
Good morning, Colonel Henderson. Good morning, Colonel Bailey, distinguished guests and staff, Class 2303. I am Second Lieutenant Howard Tufel. I'm an emergency room nurse. I'll be stationed at Joint Base Sam Houston in San Antonio, flying there tomorrow morning. Since I arrived, I've been asking myself the question that Colonel Bailey posed 2 weeks ago. What's your why? Why are you here? And to answer that, I have to go back about 20-some years to a previous career as an actor when I lived in New York City and Los Angeles. And I performed for people all across the country. And I had this feeling of camaraderie with the ensembles I was a part of. And we achieved the goal of bringing joy to people's lives, helping them escape for a few moments at a time. We would perform for a few weeks, if not a few months, and we were good at our jobs. As my career progressed to films, television, commercials, the paychecks got a little bigger, but that camaraderie disappeared, and any sense of fulfillment I had kept getting less and less. I didn't know what to do. So I decided to go back to school, and with 2 years of hard work and support from my wife, I became a nurse at the age of 44. Taking care of strangers and children, men and women of all ages, brought back that sense of fulfillment, but that camaraderie was still lacking. So I joined the United States Air Force. Delta flight, you are my why. Warthog Squadron, you are my why. Raiders, Wolf Pack, you are my why. With that, I want to share with you something that now means more to me than it ever did. An audition piece I used to perform from Shakespeare's history of King Henry V. A bit about this piece. In the early 1400s, King Henry V fought the French at what would be known as the Battle of Agincourt. They were outnumbered, some estimate 9-1. And the king addressed his troops. This day is called the Feast of Crispian. He that outlives this day and comes safe home will stand a tiptoe when this day is named and rouse him at the name of Crispian. He that shall see this day and live old age will yearly on the vigil feast his neighbors and say, tomorrow is St. Crispin's. Then will he strip his sleeve, show his scars, and say, these wounds I had on Crispin's day. Old men forget, yet all shall be forgot. But he'll remember with advantages what feats he did that day. Then shall our names, familiar in his mouth as household words, Harry the King, Bedford and Exeter, Warwick and Talbot, Salisbury and Gloucester, be in their flowing cups freshly remember it. This story shall the good man teach his son. And Crispin Crispian shall ne'er go by from this day till the ending of the world, but we in it shall be remembered. We few, we happy few, we band of brothers. For he today that sheds his blood with me shall be my brother. Be he never so vile, this day shall gentle his condition. And gentlemen in England now abed shall think themselves accursed they were not here, and hold their manhoods cheap, whilst any speaks that fought with us upon St. Crispin's day. Ladies and gentlemen of Class 2303, today forward, I vow to be your warrior, your wingman. I hope to never see any of you in the emergency room. But if I do, you better believe I will take care of you, because you'll always be my wingmen, my fellow warriors. Thank you.
Somebody's got to follow that. And it's going to be from the Wolfpack Squadron, First Lieutenant Donald Google.
Good morning, Colonel Henderson, Colonel Bailey, Lieutenant Colonel Loy, Chief, Technical Sergeant, distinguished guests, Class 2303, ladies and gentlemen. I'm First Lieutenant Google. I'm a mental health nurse, and I've been asked to share my why. When I was really young, I wanted to be in the FBI, so I joined the Army and became a counterintelligence agent. It was one of the routes to get in. I was going to use the GI Bill to get my degree. A few weeks before we deployed to Iraq, they decided to send us to interrogator course. It was a 2-week course. The normal course in the Army was 5.5 months. That's how the Army worked. They thought 2 weeks was enough to train us. When I was over there, when I was over there, 95% of the people that I dealt with were insurgents, terrorists, and criminals. I did not get to deal with the good people of Iraq. I did not get to go on any humanitarian missions. I had a source come to me about halfway through the deployment. We planned the mission. It was a night mission. We went out on it. It was a brand new platoon for me. I'd never worked with them. And I'll tell you about my brigade. We were a Stryker brigade. Stryker's a medium armored vehicle. It's about, I don't know, it looks like a tank without a turret. It's got 4 tires on each side. It's a ramped vehicle. You can fit 13 troopers in there. 1 driver, 4 turrets on each end, and 8 troops in the back. You cordon off your area, you drop your ramp, you get out real quick so you don't get, lit up inside the vehicle. We got back really late. It was 23:45. The chow hall closed at midnight, and we had missed dinner. So we went right over there when we got back to the forward operating base. One of the troopers said that they would stay with the vehicle. That was normal. What was not normal is this trooper closed the ramp. We were on the forward operating base. I was not a mental health nurse. I didn't have training in any of this stuff. Something in the back of my head said something was wrong, but I wanted to go eat and go call my wife. So I did not think about it. My subconscious was itching. The hairs on the back of the neck. We've all had this feeling before. About 5 minutes later, this soldier put an explosive round that we used to breach doors in a shotgun and placed the shotgun underneath his chin. I don't need to explain anymore. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. This trooper had gotten a letter from his wife. She had emptied his bank account. She had been cheating on him, and she thought that the best thing for her to do was send him a letter in the middle of a combat zone. I decided at that point, since I had nurses in my family, that I would change course and not be in the FBI and be a nurse. I will always regret the fact that I didn't go talk to that trooper, because there was the itch, and I ignored it. When I got out, I went to nursing school, got my degree. I started travel nursing, and I noticed a trend as I went to all the hospitals. I probably had been in 7 of them at that point. There were veterans who were coming in and active duty service members, overflow from the military hospitals. And a lot of them had PTSD. And for those of you who don't know, synopsis of the symptoms: daytime flashbacks, nightmares, anxiety, depression, insomnia, and sometimes suicidal ideation. What they would do at the hospital is they would give them Ativan. Ativan is a numbing agent. It does not do anything to treat PTSD. All it does is block your symptoms until the medication runs out. You don't feel anything. They would also give them Seroquel, an antidepressant. It's a mild anti-anxiety agent. It does get rid of delusions, but they were using it to help them sleep. This is like putting a Band-Aid on a hemorrhage. At that point, I decided to get back in the military because I thought I could do more good inside the military. And I wanted to implore you, as future leaders in the United States Air Force, to take a minute out of your day and talk to someone if they need it. This minute may seem insignificant to us. It's just a minute out of our day, but to them it could mean the world. Now a speech from Abraham Lincoln. The mystic cords of memory, stretching from every battlefield and patriot grave to every living heart and hearthstone all over this broad land, will yet swell the chorus of the Union, when again touched, as surely they will be, by the better angels of our nature. The reason I joined and answered the call to service is to prevent what happened that night from happening again. If you take a minute, you could end up saving a life. Be the better angels, I implore you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Lieutenant Google, for sharing that very personal story. I checked, no relation, but from the Raider Squadron, Second Lieutenant Elizabeth Brees.
Good morning, Colonel Henderson, Colonel Bailey, distinguished faculty and guests, all of our family and friends who are watching along with us, my mom, and our class of 2303. I am Second Lieutenant Brees from the Raiders Squadron. I will be a doctor in 4 long years after finishing medical school. Thank you, ma'am. And I am here to share my why with you all today, why I joined the Air Force and why I chose to serve. My dad, Navy Lieutenant Commander Raymond O'Hare, was a radar intercept officer, also known as a RIO, in the F-14 Tomcat. Now, as a RIO, his job was to sit in the back seat of the jet and manage communication, navigation, and radar operation while the pilot flew the plane. My dad absolutely loved to learn, and so about 7 years into his time in the Navy, he decided to pursue his degree in aeronautical engineering and was restationed to the Patuxent Naval Air Base in Southern Maryland for Naval Test Pilot School. So the 3 of us crazy kids and our 2 adventurous parents packed up and moved from Monterey, California, all the way across the country to this small town in Southern Maryland. By July 11th, 2000, our dad was about halfway through test pilot school. Just a few hours after saying our usual goodbyes to him that morning, this group of strangers in uniform came knocking at the door and informed my mom that the T-38 jet carrying my dad in the back seat had lost control while coming in for landing. It crashed into a tree and flipped upside down on base just a handful of miles from our home, killing both my dad and the pilot with him immediately upon impact. I was 3 years old at the time. My sister Katie was 4 years old, and my brother Thomas was 9 months old. So it was just 3 of us and our mom after that. Throughout my life, I've been so inspired by my dad's sacrifice. I loved hearing stories about him and telling my friends about my dad, my hero in a flight suit. But my life was so far removed from the military after my dad's death. I knew that I wanted to eventually serve others in medicine as a doctor, but I never planned to join the military because I didn't want my future family to have to endure those long periods of separation, constant moves, ever-changing schedules, and that possibility of losing a parent one day, like my family faced. But then, after graduating from college, I moved to Los Angeles to start a new job as a high school teacher, and I met this handsome Marine named Sergeant Tyler Brees. To say that I fell head over heels for Tyler would be quite the understatement. He had this sweet smile, he was so chivalrous, and oh gosh, did he look good in a uniform. I was in love. I knew that I was going to marry this man, and I did just that last summer. So we're happy now. But just 3 weeks after we started dating, Tyler deployed to the Middle East, and was only about 100 meters away from an explosion that killed 13 other service members, injured 18 more, and killed over 170 Afghan citizens at the Kabul airport in Afghanistan during the evacuation effort in August 2021. I remember in those hours following the explosion, I felt this deep sense of powerlessness because all that I could do was sit there and hear about these people who had been injured and hope that they were okay. But I soon realized that I could help those men and women the next time they choose to put themselves in harm's way for our safety and freedom by not only becoming a doctor, but by choosing to put on this uniform myself. And my time at OTS has shown me that I definitely made the right decision. In these past 2 weeks, I've been reminded that we are all part of something so much greater than ourselves. We don't just put on this uniform for the paychecks and the BAH, although I'm never going to complain about those. But we do it for our airmen next to us in PT gear at 4 a.m., for those who are wounded in battle, for those who never make it home from combat, and for their families who are left behind to face that tragedy. We do it for our country, because while freedom is not and never will be free, I'm so grateful to be a part of this military so that I can continue to fight and care for those who defend our freedom, who defend the freedom of my family and yours. Because I am an American Airman, wingman, leader, warrior. Wingman, leader, warrior. I will never leave an airman behind. I will never falter, and I will not fail. Thank you.
What better way than to hear it from your peers? Outstanding. Thank you three for doing this today. Strong example of what it takes to be a warrior-minded leader of character. It is now my pleasure to introduce the Commandant, Officer Training School, Colonel Bailey, to try to follow that up.
Can you hear me? Are we good? All right. Yeah, this blew me away. Thank you for sharing your why, having the courage to do that, and thank you for inspiring me, inspiring all of us to become better. Godspeed. Thank you. Let's give them a big round of applause. Absolutely amazing. Congratulations to all the graduates of class 2303. Big round of applause. Colonel Henderson, thank you for your inspiring words. I really appreciated your comments about servant leadership and the comment that you made about when you get that it's not about you and it's about them, then you're on the right track. So thank you very much. Thank you, Chief McKean, for being here. to the entire teammates. Thank you to everyone that put this on today. Is it Burke? What? Berkey. Where's Berkey? Could she stand up, please? Big round of applause. Thank you. And Cam Shortell, Chaplain, great work, and the entire team. Excellent. Thank you to the friends and family that have joined us virtually today. We appreciate your support and love for these amazing officers. Will the staff and instructors, our OTS professionals, please stand? Thank you for the energy, the effort, the late nights, the early mornings, and all you do behind the scenes to invest and pour the best that you have into these amazing warriors. So thank you for everything you do as an OTS team. Graduates, we've talked about your why, we've heard your why, and each of you have your individual why. We've talked about our shared why. One question I have not asked you yet is, what is the why of our enemies? Think about that. What is the why of our enemies? What inspires them with the will to fight? What is their why? As you ponder that, it's my conviction that the authoritarian adversaries that the world faces are most often motivated by hate, fear, and a lust for power and greed. Against these threats, we Americans, airmen, guardians, we can choose to be inspired by a greater cause and a stronger power. The power of love. Love for faith, family, and freedom. Love for peace through strength. Love for wingmen, battle buddies, and friends. We heard that love expressed here today by these great airmen. Love to get up early, to work hard, to dig deep, to do hard things. Love to keep fighting, to never quit. Love that inspires the courage to risk our own lives so that others may live. Warriors, wingmen, leaders, thank you for living, serving, and loving, always with honor. Always with honor means remembering those who helped us get here. Remembering the moms and the dads, the families, the friends, the mentors. Thank you. Always with honor means remembering your why. And with that compelling why, you can accomplish any what or how. Always with honor remembers our shared why we are here, and what binds us together as sisters and brothers in the profession of arms. To support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. To bear true faith and allegiance to the same. To faithfully discharge the duties. So help us God. Always with honor means we embrace a shared legacy of valor, never forgetting those who have come before us, our missing comrades, and the heroes that have given the last full measure of devotion. As warriors, always with honor means moral courage, physical courage, resilience, and a hardiness of spirit. As wingmen, always with honor means lifting others. As leaders, always with honor means elevating the performance of our teams. As warrior-minded leaders of character, always with honor means a disciplined mindset, willing to accept challenge, overcome, persevere, and overcome for those we serve. Accept challenge. Accept challenge. Class 2303, and all of us, will we accept the challenge? Will we accept the challenge each day to press forward, committed to our oath, our values, and our creed, and to serve, to lead, and to love, always with honor? May God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel Bailey. And lastly, congratulations again to all of our graduates. We wish you the best as you fly, fight, and win, always with honor. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony for COO Class 2303. Thank you for coming. We ask that you please rise for the first verse of the Air Force song and remain standing for the departure of the official party. That means you can go now.